Time for GarageBand Weekly. Studio live today. Time for GarageBand Weekly. We're gonna all shout hooray. Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening and welcome in to GarageBand Weekly. My name's Pete Johnson. For the next hour or so, we're going to be talking about all things GarageBand, about Apple, about Logic, about computers, about technology, about music. You name it, we're talking about it. We've got some news and notes for you coming up in just a jiffy, and our feature topic is not guitar. Our feature topic is the wonderful world of microphones, mics. See, they don't have any cool nicknames, do they? Guitars are like, oh man, I got a cool axe. I got a sweet blade. No one calls them that. But microphones are just like, oh, it's a mic. So we'll be dropping the mic on all things microphone related here on the show today. You can, of course, donate, as our wonderful moderator Thomas Christ is letting you know. You can join me on the Patreon. You can join me here on the channel by becoming a channel member. And guess what? The merch is back up. So if you know the story of the merch, you know that I was using another company. They will remain nameless, Teespring, and they were just dropping the ball when it comes to all of the things and the stuff. They were just not delivering. You know what? When you have a service whose job is to send T-shirts and mugs to folks who've paid good money for them, all you need to do is take their money and send them T-shirts and mugs, and that wasn't really happening. So I've moved over to Fourth Wall. You can see the range is massive already. We have a shirt and a mug. So if you want to support the channel, you want to support what I do around here, you can go and buy yourself a mug, $12 US, or a shirt, $25 US. And I've made sure I've selected some of the highest quality options available. So it's going to be heavyweight, 100% cotton all the way. We got a lot to talk about here today, so I better dive on in to the news and the notes here, and then we'll say good day to our fine folks here. Although I will tell you, if you do have any questions, please just go ahead and put a big chunky old Q in front of your comment. I will tag it as a question, and I'll circle back around and answer any questions you may have. Let's start the news and notes. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. I wanted to go 1 week, just 1 week, without talking about the T word. Yeah, we're talking about tariffs, because that guy has now threatened to put a 25% on a tariff on iPhones, and by association we can assume that it'll flow over to iPads and Macs and stuff if they continue to not be made in the US. Now, anyone that understands how economics works and how geopolitics works knows that that is simply not going to happen. And if it did happen, it would not only increase the price of iPhones, iPads, and Macs by about 2x, maybe 3x, it would also take very many years to do. So the concept of let's just take a highly refined manufacturing process that is done in a country that, let's be honest, does not pay as much or anywhere near as close to what a living wage would be in somewhere like the US or even here in Australia, and just shift it over overnight is impossible. And yeah, everyone either knows that or they're ignorant. I don't know. It's a mixture of ignorance and stupidity, or a bit of both, a lot of all. I don't understand it. Well, I do. It's just words. It's just verbal diarrhea. It's things to come out. So poor Tim Apple has to work out, how do you juggle these balls? Because he was already in trouble for saying we're going to move some production to India if you're going to tariff China so much. And now they've said, no, we don't want you going to India. You're coming here. You're coming to the US. It's a bit like we got ways of making you manufacture in the US. You don't ever go against the it's very that, isn't it? You can definitely draw the conclusions that way. It's yes. Orange and Apple. You see, they've always been against each other, haven't they? Exactly. And yes, that $1 million you spent to make them play nice. So yeah, it's meant a few things for Apple. Apple stock's taken a little bit of a dive as a result of that, not surprisingly. They'll bounce back. So the thing about all this stuff is it's 98% hot air and BS. So yeah, is there 2% of risk there? Yeah. Is it scaring the markets and making people stop buying stock and selling off stock? Yeah. Is it all going to happen? Are you going to be paying $3,000 for your next iPhone? I can almost guarantee you won't be. However, we've already seen the flow-on effects of this stuff. We've already seen things like Microsoft putting the prices of Xboxes up in Australia, in the UK, in Europe, in places that don't have anything to do with this. So companies are going to start doing that. And if you're sitting smugly like me in Canada or Australia or Europe or England and you're like, doesn't affect me, yeah, guess what? Got some bad news for you, folks. It's 100% going to affect everyone because that's how things work. Companies aren't going to just slap it all on just one consumer base because then they'll lose a whole bunch of market share. What they will do is absorb some of it and then pass the rest throughout their entire product line, throughout their entire international product offering. So, yeah, I say all that to say, get ready for it. Apple, apparently, there's a new smart hub with homeOS. Apple are reportedly working on a smart hub with HomePod and iPad features. So this has been kicking around for a while. A display, a camera, support for Apple TV. This is that device. Remember we talked about it a while ago? Like the weird sort of floating iMac screen that you put in your kitchen. They always sell it like this. You could watch an Apple TV show and then flick over and get your recipe while you cook, and then get your iMessages from your kids, and then check your calendar, and then flick over. Yeah, so it's that whole single appliance. But you know why I think this struggles and suffers? Because of this. Because we all have everything of that. We just have it in our pocket. And if we don't have it in our pocket, we've got an iPad. You just stick an iPad on a stand and it does all those things. So am I saying that this is dead out of the gate? No, there's probably people out there that want this. But, you know, think about it. If you've been around tech for a while, the Chumby, the Google Display, the Amazon Echo screen, we've had all these before. And look, I have one. I have the Google Home Display and I quite like it. But do you know what I do? I look at the time. It's a glorified clock radio that can occasionally play my music. Except when I ask it to play a song, it usually plays a different song or plays the live version. Does anyone else have this problem? Bringing it back to music, when you ask your bugger-lugs or your assistant of choice to play a song from whatever streaming platform you use, it plays the live version. Now, my conspiracy theory brain says they do that because they have to pay less royalties to the live version than they would for the studio recording. I don't even know if that's true, but it's very weird. I know that, you know, those reaction channels. So Beth Roars is one of my favorites, where she's like reacting. She's a singing coach and she's reacting to singers. She'll almost always use a live version because it doesn't flag the content ID. It's less likely to get a copyright strike. Still might get a copyright claim, but it won't get a copyright strike. So interesting if true. Yeah, new iPhone is going to have to wait. Exactly. Hello, Fat Panda Cat, by the way. We'll say good day to you in a moment. Yeah, get them now. Buy now. Go to my gear guide, as Thomas Christ said, studiolivetoday.com/gear. Go there. Go there now. Run. Don't walk. And buy all the gear that I recommend over there. What's next on our news and notes? Apple were going to put a camera in the Apple Watch, and I thought that was gold. I thought that would be awesome because my wife has the Meta Ray-Bans. I know, Meta, Facebook, Instagram. I don't love the company either, but they're cool. Like, they're really cool. And like, because she'll be riding her bike to work, and if something hairy's coming up, she'll just go beep, and it starts recording what she's seeing. So it's like having a dash cam, but it's a face cam for yourself. And I was thinking, if they put a camera in the Apple Watch, how cool would that? Imagine a music video that you shoot from your watch while you're just walking around, and it's like you could get all sorts of cool, crazy angles and take all sorts of cool clips of video. And then, yeah, that same thing that, you know, yes, it's not that hard to pull this out and hit the camera button and take a photo or a video. And look, I'm not advocating, you know, stealthily doing it, but who hasn't wanted to just go pew and like be shooting video with your anyway. It's gone, so they're not going to be doing that. Apparently, there's no more watch. And the last thing, which is interesting, and I haven't tried this yet, so I'd like to put it out there. Has anyone tried Fender Studio yet? I haven't, and if we have time, maybe we'll have a look at it on the show here today. But Fender, yes, that Fender, have joined the world of mobile creating. Fine, I'll accept all your things. So Fender have their Link IO, which is like an IK multimedia iRig basically, and they're now saying that you can use this Fender Studio app to record, to jam, to create. It kind of looks like a cross between GarageBand and BandLab, if you've used BandLab before. I don't know if it does much more than guitar stuff, whether it's got drums and bass and vocal recording. I'd assume so. But the big selling point is instead of using those, dodgy off-brand amps that are like it's like a blackface, but it's not. These are apparently the actual tones, the actual Fender amp tones, and of course, because they're Fender, they can actually use their actual Fender amps. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So you get all these things. You get all the effects pedals. You get bass amps, you get the twin 65 twin reverb, the classic Fender twin reverb amp, and you can start creating with 8 tracks. So I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more like a Sketchpad than a full-featured DAW. So should Apple be shaking in their boots because of this? I don't know, but I'm keen to check it out, and I'll be checking it out on the channel sooner rather than later, so keep your eye out for that. And if anyone has already tried it and thinks it's cool or thinks it's lame, either way, let me know. But yeah, was there a need for this? Like, given that we already have so many amp sims and so many ways to record, I don't know. I guess competition is always good, right? It's always better to have more choice than less choice. All right, quick drink, and then we are going to jump in and talk to the fine folks who are here live, and also to say g'day and answer any questions that you may have. So please go ahead and do that. Yeah, exactly. The glasses, the quality of the video in the glasses is really good. And yes, I know Apple wanted to make their big nerd helmet, but I would buy tomorrow if Apple came out with a device at $1,000. And I know that's probably way less than what it would actually be. But the Meta Ray-Bans are about $600-700 here in Australia. So for $1,000 Australian, I could buy the eye goggles that are literally like the glasses I wear. I wear Oakley's. So if Oakley and Apple came out and I could just buy some Apple eye goggles, and they had a camera and they had a microphone and they had speakers like the bone conducting speakers like the Meta do, I'd buy them tomorrow. Because I already spend $200 on a pair of Oakleys. So yeah, anyway, that's what I want. Well, that's what you think. You'd think it would be pretty good. Yeah, we'll see. Hello to Jade. Star played with one on iPad yesterday. It's okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it looks okay. I've used it. It's exactly like Pete said. It's great to have on your phone. You won't take down an idea in a hotel room or on the move. They say they want to add more, so we'll see. That's the question, Fat Panda Cat. Is this going to be a freemium model? Is this let's get you using these and in love with these Fender tones and only 8 tracks so that you can do your sketching ideas? And then there's the Pro model that has 32 tracks and you can record your vocals and has a whole bunch more effects and is only at the low, low price of $9.99 per month. You heard it here first, folks. There will almost definitely, there's got to be some sort of service model with this. Fender, yes, they want to sell guitars, and yes, they want to sell you their little dongle, which, again, a dongle's a dongle. Like these days, every guitar rig, every dongle, every audio interface, you're getting 24-bit audio, you're getting 44.1, 48 kilohertz audio. It's kind of all you need. As long as it's not the cheap $10 ones you get off Amazon or eBay, you're going to get a decent quality. Anything with Presonus or Focusrite or Steinberg or IK Multimedia or M Audio, even Behringer. Yes, even Behringer. Yeah, subscription for sure. That's it. Fender brought Presonus. So I'm not sure if they do themselves. So maybe it's the Studio One, Presonus Studio One Fender edition. Maybe that's what it's going to be. They're going to hook up because Studio One isn't on mobile at the moment. So maybe they're going to do a special version of Studio One. I mean, Cubase did it with Cubasis. So you could see it happening, couldn't you? Presonus Studio One Mobile Edition. Again, the good news is I have this show where I just put speculation out into the world. And I'm usually wrong. And then on the off chance that I'm right, I can just clip that bit out. And just say I'm always right. Look, I predicted it. It's a bit like the whole Simpsons predicted it thing that people say. It's like, the Simpsons didn't really predict it. The Simpsons just did it. Like the Simpsons have done everything, like the whole South Park thing. Simpsons did it, so Simpsons have done everything. So they've predicted a whole bunch of stuff that hasn't happened. But the 1% of things, but it was Donald Trump. Yeah. But it was like Black. Yeah. Yeah, they've predicted a lot of things, haven't they? But they've also got a lot wrong. A bit like Back to the Future. People are like, oh man, it's like we're living in Biff Tannen's 1985. It's like, yeah, but nothing else. No hoverboards. No hoverboards happening. Anyway. All right, Coldacre, g'day to you. Let's say g'day to folks. We're here live. Coldacre, our wonderful moderator, Mr. Thomas Cryer, Studio 6+1, Marky Mark Bro, and his funky bunch, Al Davis Music. Hello to you, David. Cartret, g'day. Hope you're going well. Fat Panda Cat, who we've said hello to as well. And if you are here lurking in the shadows like Doug Kidder, then hello to you. I was talking to Thomas Christ about the NFL season coming up, and Doug, Thomas tells me the Cleveland Browns, no bueno, and that I should support a different team. What say you? Defend your honor. I just love the Cleveland Browns because they're named after that character from Family Guy. That's how it works. Definitely that way. Did I say Hummer or Hover? Good question. Probably Hover. Hover.com for all of your domain name needs. Actually, that is who I use. If you go to the description, you'll see I've got a link there to Hover.com because I recommend them. They're not a sponsor. Maybe they should be. Hover.com. Really easy. Hello, Jenny Jolivet. Did you hear it? Did you hear the song that Jay did for Jenny and Ron? Pretty rad. In 50 minutes on the Creative Hour this week, Jay was feeling like crud and still managed to put together a great tune with the power of Logic Pro for iPad. No defense, they say. And look, that's the thing. You're allowed to like a team just because you like them. And I'm the same. Vegas Golden Knights. Apparently they're evil too. Yeah. The rest of the league don't like them. Which, sometimes that makes you like a team even more, doesn't it? They have 5 quarterbacks and nothing else. We have everything but a quarterback. So quarterback's the throw guy, yeah? What do you call the catch guys? Are they wide receivers? They go, oh, where's my ding? Wide receivers? Ding. Wide receiver. Oh, man. Yes, exactly. You got it. Look, I'm in two minds with this stuff. We'll have a quick mental health check-in here. Mental and physical health check-in, folks. There are 2 schools of thought here. One is that when you need rest, you should take rest and then recover and then come back. The other is that you power on through and you get it done. It depends. It really does depend. You got to kind of choose it and then go with it at the time. And sometimes I'm feeling pretty crappy and I still put on a show. Sometimes you just have to call it and say no. So I do that. You might notice that some weeks there's no other tutorials. I do all the live shows and the usual 2 or 3 tutorial videos don't come out. That's the taking the break. So yes, wide receivers. Ding. Yes. I hate sports. Someone have my team. Yeah. See, what is the Venn diagram between sports lovers and music lovers? Because there's a lot of people that I know in the music scene that have no time for sport at all. But there is definitely crossover because I know that we usually like good sports though, like hockey and cricket, soccer. No, look, maybe I could get into football, but I just find I don't know. It's because I like hockey because you just sit down and watch, and like they literally have to stop them. They go to a break because the hockey players they're like, okay, guys, you just have to stop for a minute. We're taking a TV timeout. And it's just ongoing. It's constant. It's a barrage. But then again, I like cricket, which is one of the slowest, most boring sports in the world. So I can't really stand on my laurels and say that I don't like the NFL because it takes so long to play a game and it's so boring and it's so stop-start because I like cricket. So maybe it's just that I don't understand it. I think it's that. And I can never tell who's who because they all look the same because they're all just big beefy dudes with big shoulders and like they're all under the helmet, so you can't tell one player from the other. There's no flair. It's not like the Jaromir Jagr mullet flowing out the back or the Wayne Gretzky jersey tuck. Everyone just looks the same. So anyway, Ron was a sportscaster to start. That's cool. We need to find out. Has Ron got some old tapes and stuff, Jenny? I would love to see and hear some of Ron's stuff. You should put it on your channel. I would watch the crud out of listening to Ron. I could totally hear Ron as a sportscaster. He's got that energy, doesn't he? He's got that energy in his voice that would do it. I didn't mean it that way. I just meant that all football players look the same because they have so much padding and gear covering them, as opposed to, yeah, even though hockey players do as well, I guess. Again, I'm a hypocrite. But you watch soccer and they can, or Australian rules football, like all the kids, and I call them kids because they're, 20-year-olds, all the kids playing AFL, Australian rules football, they've gone nut. Like they all try to have their own style. So we got one dude with like long bleached blonde hair, looks like Thor. We got other dudes that have the weird shavings on the side. We got all the prawn mows that people are wearing now, which just makes them look like outcasts from the 70s. So everyone's got to have their own unique look, because otherwise, yeah, guess what? You look like a 6'3" fit dude with big guns and a six pack. Guess what? Everyone's that. So yeah, I get it. You have to differentiate yourself. He does have the golden voice. So hidden oh yeah. Go. There's your job for this week, Jenny, because I'm sure you don't have enough going on in your world. Go and find some of Ron's tapes, because that would be. You should make a song, a la Thomas Christ and his nuclear football. You should make a song that incorporates some clips from Ron as a sportscaster. There you go. There's your project. I'm giving people jobs to do now. All right. So where are we at? We are at we're 21 minutes in. We got through that a lot quicker than we usually do. I'm usually rabbiting on about and that includes all the weird talk about football and other things. So we are going to take a quick break, not to but a quick break. So you may be being served an ad right now. You may not be. I realized something this week. I'll talk about ads. While we're in the ad break, for some folks, I'll talk about ads so that you don't miss anything important. I was doing some research, because if you don't know, a lot of the reason I can be a full-time creator here on YouTube is advertising. I know, and I'm sorry. So whenever you get fed an ad in the middle of a video or at the beginning or the start of a video, yeah, if you click it or watch it, that's fine. If you skip it, that's fine too. You do you, boo. But it's kind of how I feed my children. Get the violins out. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is a thing. It's a reality. It's a fact of life. Unfortunately, if I didn't do that, I'd have to basically charge you to watch each show. And some of you do, because you're on YouTube Premium. So you basically are being charged to watch the show ad-free. And it's just the way the world works. But I say all that to say that I used to make sure that I only put one ad in. If it was a 20-minute video, I'd only insert one ad. If it was like a 30 or 40-minute video, or this show, I'd only put maximum of 2 ads in. What I realized is those aren't ads that are shown to all people all the time. In fact, it's very rare. In fact, it's only about 10 to 20% of the time that people actually get shown an ad, depending where you are in the world, your viewing habits, a whole bunch of other factors. So the ad slots are really just where an ad may be placed. So if you notice more ads in your videos, please do let me know. If it gets too much, please do let me know. But I have started to just add in extra slots, because YouTube recommend that I do it. Again, because it's challenging times. In these hard economic, unprecedented times, we need to do what we can do. So there you go. If you missed that because you were sent to an ad, all I was talking about was the ad system on YouTube. If a rugby player here turned up with a different haircut, he'd be ripped into next year. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Rugby's a bit different, isn't it? Because it's almost more of a conformist kind of thing, isn't it? Whereas, was it the thing that like there was rugby and soccer was called that because it was like social or I don't know. It's something sock. It was like a term that they used, and rugby or ruggers was what you played if you were posh and conformist, and then soccer was for like the lowly types, that sort of on the edges, on the fringe. And yet now, Jeebus, you look at soccer, football, and yeah, the amount of money being pumped into there, mostly by non-desirable folks, is astonishing. And the fact that they have a no salary cap system in a lot of football leagues is bizarre in 2025, because you basically just pay to win. A bit like Formula One, you pay to win. Whoever's got the most money is almost guaranteed to finish very high. And occasionally you get the Cinderella stories, But more often than not, it's just, oh, what's that? A Saudi gazillionaire just pumped a couple of billion into Manchester City. Oh, now they're a good team and they're better than United. End of. So, there. A Yorkshire rugby player shaved his moustache once and they had to have a board meeting. It makes me fun. Hello to Joe, Glenn, and Barry Glenn getting outside. I love it. I love a bit of outdoorsiness. A little bit of warmer weather. Yeah, well, not here. I did mention yesterday on the show that we had some bad weather coming, and it sure did. So overnight it was windy. There was some tree branches down. We had about 10, 15 millimeters of rain, which isn't a heap, but is enough. And yeah, today looks like it's going to be a bit cold and wet as well. So it is winter time, or at least coming into winter time. We have no questions. Everyone's very quiet and demure today. It is what is it? Not Veterans Day, Memorial Day for many of you. So hopefully you're kicking back and serenely. It's weird because we have a thing called Anzac Day here in Australia. You don't say Happy Anzac Day, do you? So I wouldn't imagine you'd say Happy Memorial Day because it's not about celebrating. It's about recognizing. I would have thought anyway. Although maybe it's different. Maybe you celebrate the fact that you have freedom, but at the same time you recognize that it's only through the sacrifices of many people. And as I mentioned yesterday, anti-war, pro-recognizing people that were forced to fight in them. That's my view. That's the way I go with it these days. Because yeah, there's nothing worse than it. And it's not the people. So it is run by money, unfortunately, and power. And unfortunately, it's not the people that have the money or the power or that are seeking those that are the people that are fighting in the wars. It's the people that are forced to fight in the wars by the people seeking the money and the power. So my heart and condolences and empathy and sympathy go out to those people, does not go out to the warlords and the horrific people that are actually causing the trauma for folks. So that's all I got to say about that. Yeah, and look, you can celebrate a day off. Yeah, absolutely. In an appropriate way. Alrighty, let's continue on. That got dark. Let's get light again. Let's talk microphones, microphonics. So, about once a year, I kind of review. Thomas called it at the start. He said, how will the AT 2020 hold up in 2025? And the good news with microphones is not much has changed. So, the main difference that we have here is that more folks are doing more things like I'm doing right now. So the rise of broadcast-style dynamic microphones over what a lot of people was using in the past, which was a condenser microphone, has been pretty big. What's the difference? We have to start there, don't we? We start with dynamic versus condenser. And here's some I prepared earlier. So this is your standard condenser microphone, and this is your standard dynamic microphone. Now, these are the ones that I use and recommend. This is the AKG D5. This is the Audio-Technica AT 2020. They're both about $100 to buy, US, and they both do a really good job. But what is the difference? Why would you buy one over the other if you're creating and recording music? Well, here's the skinny. Here's the lowdown. I still say your first microphone, if you're getting ready, so let's just say that there's someone watching this right now and they're like, oh, choosing a microphone. Hey, it's that funny guy from the internet that talks about GarageBand. I need to buy my first microphone. What should I buy, Johns? I will still tell you to buy this. I will still tell you to buy the Audio-Technica AT 2020. It is just the best all-round microphone. It's a side address condenser microphone. And what a condenser microphone means is it uses something called phantom power. It uses phantom power to power the condenser in here, which means that it actually has higher gain. It means you get louder volume. If you plugged this in and then you plugged this in and you set your audio interface or whatever you're plugging into, your mixer, to the same volume, this is going to be a whole lot louder than this. And here's the big problem a lot of folks have is that they go out and they buy something like an AKG D5 or you might have heard of the Shure SM57 or SM58. They plug it in and then they try to record a soft, delicate little acoustic guitar part fingerstyle, and it's not picking up enough sound. So they turn up the preamp on their interface and now it's picking up a whole bunch of noise. So if that's you, if I'm talking to you, if you've had those experiences, a condenser microphone is definitely what you need. if you are blasting out distorted guitar sounds from an amplifier, if you are singing rock or metal and you've got a loud voice, yeah, this is going to be great. Using a dynamic microphone is going to be great. The rise of the broadcast style mic, so this is the Rode Pod mic and there's the Rode Studio. You've almost definitely seen the Shure SM7B and the Shure S7, what's the other one called? We'll have a look at these in a moment. That has been because of the rising of podcasting, the rising of live streaming, and the rising of more broadcast style recording. The good thing about the Rode Pod mic and why it's kind of my new go-to is that it does everything. So yes, it is still dynamic microphone, meaning it doesn't need fan to power, and meaning you won't get as much gain from it as you would from, say, a condenser mic, but it does a great job with what you give it. So if you're doing vocals, if you're doing broadcast style stuff, anything apart from that really delicate, quiet stuff, then you're going to be gold. Let's jump over to my gear guide. So as Thomas has already told you, it is at studiolivetoday.com/gear. And here are the microphones that I currently use and recommend. So there's the three. These are the Holy Trinity. This is what I would recommend. That's the AKG D5. And if we jump over to Sweetwater, $149. That is the most expensive I've ever seen it. Is this that guy? Is this the T word? Let's check it on Amazon. What have we got? D5, not available. D5S. Oh, there's so D5S, which is the same but with a switch. Okay, that's not terrible. $116. Phew. See, the problem was that these used to be $99 or $109 or $119 maximum, and now they're at $116.90. And the only difference between the D5S, any microphone that has an S in its name usually has a switch. Doesn't really make any difference. Mine doesn't have a switch. That one does have a switch. Same with the SM57 and 58s. The only benefit of a switch is if you're using it for live applications, it can be handy to be able to turn it off. There is nothing worse than having a hot mic when you really do not want your microphone to be heard by folks in the world. So that is that one. Then we have the AT 2020. This is traditionally $99. $119. It's happening, folks. They're creeping up. They're creeping up. What's this one currently on Amazon? See, I didn't check these prices before the show, and this is actually quite shocking. $119. What did you pick this up for, Thomas? I reckon $69 back on a Black Friday sale or something like that. So, yeah, $119 USD for the Audio-Technica AT 2020. And I don't think it's going to get any less expensive, to be honest. I don't think, because if you think, oh, well, I'll just wait a while then. The problem with prices going up with this sort of stuff is I'm not sure they're coming back down in a hurry. Yeah, about $80. Yeah, I think it was something like that, wasn't it? It was $70 or $80. It was, yeah, it might have been 79 down from 99. But yeah, it was a good deal. And my current microphone, the one that I like to use, well, there you go. Already sold on that one because that is still only $99. Come on, go Australia. Come on, Aussie, come on. Because, yeah, I would go that over this now. Especially if you were paying 120 or 150 for an AKG D5, I would actually choose the pod mic because it does a pretty good job on vocals as well. Like actual singing vocals, as well as guitars and acoustic guitars. It's very well made, and it's by Rode, and they're Australian. They're made in Australia, and they're made like tanks. So that is a good thing. That's good news. And they sell all these little coloured foamy dealies. So you might have seen, if you've watched Leela, or if you watch Thomas, or you watch Jade, we all have the pod mics now. We're all very boring, basic bees these days because we're all using the pod mic. Jade started it, so yeah, she gets to take the credit / blame for that. How much is it on Amazon at the moment? And by the way, yeah, 99. So it is on sale because its list price is actually 150 apparently, but it's 99. So there you go. Job done. Go out and buy yourself a Rode pod mic for $99 right now before they jack the prices up. Yeah. In fact, it's only $21 to get it shipped to Australia. That's pretty good because I reckon there's still, if I go to my favourite Australian place to buy things, which is called DJ City, weirdly, the two main places I buy stuff from are places called Store DJ and DJ City. I'm not a DJ, but it just seems to be where they sell the stuff. Rode Pod Mic. Okay, so it's only 157. Oh, no, there it is. 140. Why is that one 140? Oh, it's B stock. All right, so 157, 140. That's pretty good. Yeah, the pod mic is awesome. No complaints. Hello, Turbo Christ. Yes, pretty good prices for those mics. Although, look at this. Oh, that's the B stock. I'm like, why is that so low on stock? That's because that's the B stock. If we go Rode Pod Mic, the regulars, they should have lots of them in stock. Yeah, plenty. Plenty of them in stock to send to us. Leela loves it as well. Yeah, look, a lot of us use it. And what I'll say about when you're buying things is try to get multiple points of reference. So try to get feedback from different people and try to make sure that you're not just reading online reviews. Online reviews are fine, but what you tend to find is the people that give something a 1-star review either have really ridiculously high expectations that just nothing will ever meet, or they bought a product that was wrong for their use. For instance, I have seen people that have bought the AKG D5 and have given it a 1-star review. Why? Because they say it's too quiet. You didn't listen to John's. You didn't listen to me tell you that don't buy a dynamic microphone if you're recording soft, quiet sources. Get yourself a condenser microphone. 80-20-20. So yeah, there's a lot of people, or the Shure SM7B is the classic one for that. People buy it not realizing that it has a very dark tone. It's very bass heavy, which a lot of people like because people want to have that broadcast style voice, but it also has quite low gain. And there's been stories over the years of, yes, you need to get a cloud lifter, you need to get a booster to put the gain up, you need to get your systems calibrated for it. It's not an entry level. It's not a pick up and go microphone. Whereas the pod mic is. It is an easier microphone to use. So, for instance, if we go and search out, so we'll jump over here to Sweet Water. I'll bring you back over here with me. And if we look at this, because if you didn't want to go actually, let's check these. Shure SM57. So the Shure SM57 used to be absolutely, reliably $99. Same with the Shure SM58, $99. Guess what? They've gone up. We talked about it a few weeks back. They're now $109. For the first time in forever that I can remember, they're now $109 for that. Let's check. I wonder if the SM7B has also gone up. Let's see. So this is the microphone, the Joe Rogan special microphone, the one that all the podcasters use. So this is $439, which, yeah, I think it used to be $399. I'm almost sure it was $399. In fact, guess what? Have you heard of Camel? Camel.com, the one place to search for all your stuff. That should, if that's not their motto, it should be. So let's go to Camel, and we'll search the Shure SM7B. And what you can do with Camel see is see what the price has been in the past. So you know how sometimes you go to Amazon or you go somewhere and they're like, oh, this is 27% off. Well, guess what? You can come into Camel and go, no, it's not, because it's been this price forever. So that's not actually a real discount. You're making stuff up again, Arnold. So what happened here? So here was the original price. Down here at $347 is the lowest price it's been when it was first released, from 2012 right through to 2016. That guy gets into power and it goes up to $400. It stays at $400. It goes on sale for $399 and $379 a few times. And now that guy gets into power again and it goes to $439. Is this causation or correlation? You be the judge. But every time that guy gets into power and starts talking about tariffs and starts screwing with supply chains and screwing with companies' ability to import products from China, guess what happens? Prices go up. So yeah. There it is. There's the camel. And you've even got the camel emojis there if you're looking at the version on the show. Prices are no longer a sure thing. Oh, very good. Podcasters, yes, please do go check out Bandrew at Podcastage for all of your microphone. This guy has been doing mic reviews in depth and excellent ones for the longest time. He's got 336,000 subscribers now. So Podcastage on YouTube, there it is. So before you buy a microphone, Go and check out what he has to say. So come to your YouTube and search podcastage, name of microphone. Yeah, it's the MV7. This is a good segue into talking about this. By the way, I saw a question there from someone. I will be spinning back around to questions in just a jiffy. We're just going to finish off on this stuff. So there you go, the Shure MV7 Plus review versus the MV7, the MV7B, and the SM58. So this brings us nicely into our next little segue, which is that you may want a microphone that has a little more flexibility. You may want to have a microphone that you can just plug and play as opposed to having to use an audio interface or a mixer or some sort of preamp. And you can do that now. And in fact, there are microphones such as the Shure MV7 that does exactly that. So let's jump over again to our friends at Sweetwater. And by the way, all the links that I use here, if you are going to buy something, I'll just put this out there. I'm not allowed to ask you to use my affiliate links. It's a very weird thing. What I have to say is the links that I have in the description of this video are affiliate links. That means that if you use those links and make a purchase, they will break off a chunk and send it to me. I will be paid a commission for you to use those links. That's all I have to say about that, because yes, there's very, very strict rules around how I tell you that I have affiliate links. Let's check out this M7V. Oops, I'm in the wrong spot. M7V. Let's come over here and we'll take us a look. So the main difference here is that we're starting to look, is it not the M7V? What is it? It's the MV7. Get it right, Johns. MV7. So the main difference here is that you get the benefit of having a built-in USB as well as, so there's a cheaper one now. There's so many variants of it. So the good news here is that you can plug it in. So it's still got the same connector here. It's still got the ability to have an XLR connection, but you'll notice it also has USB-C. And it also has a built-in microphone jack, headphone jack. So you could use this, you could plug this directly into your iPad and use it as the input and output source and record directly to your iPad or your iPhone or your Mac or your PC or anything. So the benefit is you can use this as a USB microphone and you can also use it as an XLR microphone. So if you're looking for something like that, you can go with that. We also have, so if you wanted to go Rode as opposed to going Rogue, they have the Rode PodMic USB. And yeah, you will always pay a bit more. So in this case, you pay double. So if you don't need the USB, don't buy this version because it's just going to cost you extra. But the reason it costs extra is that it includes an audio interface. So all a USB microphone is a microphone with a built-in USB audio interface. And more often than not, it's not going to be as high quality as it's getting better these days. A lot of the old USB mics used to only be 16-bit audio. They wouldn't have that high quality that you'd be looking for. But these days, most of your microphones that have USB have a decent quality audio interface that connects up to your computer. So if you wanted to just completely cover yourself for $200, yeah, you could get the Rode PodMic USB, and it just means that wherever you are, whatever you're doing on the go in your studio, you can use the same microphone and you'll be good to go. You've probably seen like the old blue Yeti. Like for years, folks on YouTube were all talking into the Yeti. I think it's the most hideously ugly microphone in the world ever. It's a USB condenser microphone, so it's very similar to the AT2020. In fact, the capsules have very similar kinds of sounds. The only difference is that this is USB only, so this is only going to plug in. You're not going to be able to use this with your audio interfaces, your mixers, etc. But yeah, it's the classic YouTuber, Twitcher, streamer kind of mics. Yeah, I don't really want another USB thing drawing power. Exactly. Like for those of us that have lots of USB things plugged in, it's not big enough to cover you, Mark. Yeah. Chish. So that's kind of the two things that you have to think about when you're buying a microphone. Think about what you're recording. If you're recording only loud stuff, a dynamic's going to be great. A PodMic, a D5, an SM57, an SM7B, you can choose from any of those. If you're recording softer sounds, or this is especially relevant for female vocalists. I've had a lot of times where a female vocalist using an SM57 or 58 or a D5, you're not getting enough gain going in. And sometimes it's better these days, especially if you've got a more modern interface that has, say, 32-bit float, then you're going to have even less noise floor to deal with. But if you're recording and you want those crispy high ends from your quieter sounds, so you say you're recording violin, or you're recording like a nice soft piano part, or you're recording female vocals, quite often you want to look for a condenser microphone, especially in the home studio, because you're not going to have a lot of gain in your preamp built into your audio interface. If you're using a Focusrite or a Steinberg or something sort of consumer level, you're not going to have a heap of gain. So condenser microphone is for you. And then dynamic is for everything else. So in a perfect world, what would I buy right now? I would probably still buy the 2020 just to have that flexibility, and then I'd buy a pod mic, and I'd spend $200 and I'd be done. And then you've got everything covered. There is a third type of microphone that I'm not going to even talk about here. You can go and look it up. Don't use it. If you come across another, I'm not going to even say the word, but if you come across another type of microphone, don't use them. They use them in studios. They're very, very highly sensitive. They're very, very easy to destroy and blow up. So yeah, you do not want to use that microphone. All right. Hello, Hugh Caldwell. Thanks for being here. I know it does look like a cheap can of deodorant. We had some questions come in, I believe. I'm just going to scroll up. Look, the Sennheisers are great. So the Sennheiser E965 and E4. Let's just show you these here now, because I forget which one is which. I haven't used them personally, but I know people who have and have got good sounds. So the 965, yeah. So the 965. This is actually another category, and I'll talk about it because I wasn't going to cover it, but I actually use a very similar microphone to this. So here is the 965. I use this, which I used for the longest time. It's the AE3300. This one is from Audio-Technica, and it's very similar to this, the Sennheiser E965. The difference here is this is a multi-pattern condenser handheld microphone. So this is like the best of both worlds, or the best of all worlds, because this is a handheld microphone, but it actually uses a condenser. And when it says multi-pattern, it usually means that you can change the pattern. I don't see a switch on this to actually change the pattern, because usually a microphone has what's called a cardioid pattern, and a cardioid pattern is that heart-shaped one you see. So it means that it's mostly picking up from right in front of the microphone. There's like figure 8 patterns as well. There's super cardioid, which is like a cardioid on steroids. So yeah, this sort of microphone will set you back a pretty penny, as you can see there. And as James says, you do indeed get what you pay for. So you do have to keep that in mind, because the difference there's going to be a big difference. Like holding these two next to each other, they don't look much different, do they? One's a $100 microphone, one's a $500 microphone. As I put them down very gently and carefully. The other one that was asked about here, where was the rest of your question? The E845. So I think that is is that the dynamic version of this one? E845. There it is. Yeah. So that's the super cardioid dynamic microphone. So this one is almost exactly the same, or the same design principle as this, the AKG D5 or a Shure SM58. So once you get to this sort of $100 range, you're pretty much you're getting a pretty similar product. So whether it's made by AKG, Audio-Technica, Sennheiser, Shure, or Rode, yeah, most of your cardioid or super cardioid dynamic mics are going to be around $100 to $150 at the entry level. Most of your broadcast mics will be about that, and then go up to like your $400 and $500 for, say, the Shure SM7B. Your condensers, like the AT2020, will start around $100, $120 and go up quite drastically from there. The one thing that I will say that I'll kind of finish off with, and then I did see another question there that we'll answer as well. The one thing I will say is, don't buy a cheap microphone. I know the temptation would be to go and buy a cheap microphone. And what do I mean by a cheap microphone? Well, let's just say you go to Amazon.com and you go, we'll go to the US one. We go, let's just search dynamic microphone. And let's see what options we have here. So what Amazon will do is at the top here, I mean, sometimes it gives you some good options here. So over here on the right, you've got the Shure SM58. Huh, look, that's only $99 here. There you go. Quick, grab it. There, okay. So on Amazon right now. But you can see up the top, see all these sponsored ones? Monono? Monono is probably a no-no. And by the way, Monono like reach out to me now and they're like, Johns, we'll send you one and we'll sponsor you. But you can see what they're doing here, right? So broadcast style mic for recording. It looks just like an MV7 or an SM7B, but it's only $104. How could it possibly be as good as a Shure, but only be a quarter the price? It can't. Simple, it can't. And it isn't. They cut back on the quality of the components that go into it, the quality of the microphone capsule. If it's USB, the quality of the audio interface that we talked about before will be much lower. So I would steer away from any brand that you don't know. Tonor, Monono. I just love that it's called Monono. But yeah, so you can see down here, as soon as you get down here, and if you do want a cheaper microphone, I used to use this, the Shure PGA 48. It is a cut down version of the SM58, but you pay about half as much. So I would go with that over any of these other brands that I've never heard of. So more Mononos. Yeah, Monono are clearly the sponsored ones because a lot of these results are them. Yep, Monono, 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 Monono. No. Bowens. There you go. There's a Bowens microphone. Comica. Pile. I've heard some folks say decent things about Pile, that they're a lower. And look, things like Samson. I've used Samson microphones in the past, and they are almost there. So again, if you're going to go a budget microphone, Samson are pretty good. Again, I've heard Pile's okay. But these brands where you see the exact same ones and they're just called different things, Amazon Basics, obviously, stay away from. Marengo, like these all look the same. They're all probably coming out of the same factory, but they're just being called different things. Elgato, decent brand. You're okay there. Shure, obviously, decent brand. But yeah, and look, then you start getting into the absolute copycats, things like this one. The WM57. Hey, it's just like an SM57, but it's only $15.90 instead of $109. Surely it's exactly as good. What about an SM57 version? It must be great. Look at that one. I reckon that was printed on one of those label makers and stuck on there. So yeah, as someone said before, you get what you pay for, 100%. It doesn't mean you need to spend $500 on a microphone, but please don't spend $30. That's all I'm asking you. Please save up. If you're going to buy a microphone, don't buy the $20 or $30 Amazon special. Save up and get something decent for at least $100 or thereabouts. Or if you're going to go a little cheaper, Samson or that Shure PG48 is a decent option for you as well. Cole Seth had a question, has been very patiently waiting. Have a video capture card, how to send my iPad to PC. I have an Apple USB hub and that works. I have a Scarlett interface. My issue is getting the audio into PC through the Scarlett and the iPad. I'm doing exactly that now. It gets a little tricky. So if you only need audio, so let's just read this. I have a video capture card and send my iPad to PC. I have the app. So here's the problem, is that it will send your audio through that same video capture card. So what you actually have to do is if you're using a hub, the last device connected becomes the audio input and output. So if you've got your Scarlett, so I've got this exact same setup here, except I'm using a Steinberg interface, Steinberg. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a video. I'm going to show you this now, because the only way I can do this really is to take a video with my phone, and then I'll show you what I've got set up. So let's queue up the video here and hit it. So here is my iPad. You can see at the back there, I've got a USB to HDMI adapter plugged into this adapter, and then I've got my USB devices plugged in there. However, if I plug just the USB in, I then have to unplug and replug the audio interface. Otherwise, the iPad will use USB. So when I first plug it in, it's using that HDMI as the audio in and out. I don't want that. So what I have to do is I have to unplug and replug that in there. So I'll send that video over now and I'll show you that. And while that transfers, which I'll airdrop it over now, I'll show you the software side of what I mean by this. So let's send this to my Mac. All right, so that's coming on across. Let's jump on over here to the iPad and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to unplug my audio interface. I've unplugged my audio interface, and now if I swipe down from the top right and I come and tap on this, which is my audio input and output settings, see how it's got iPad there? What's happening with you is you're plugging in the HDMI to USB and it's choosing this as your audio. And it means that it's not recognizing your Scarlett interface. All you need to do is, if your Scarlett's plugged into the hub, is unplug it, which I've done. And when I plug back in, I've plugged back into the USB adapter. So I've got my USB hub there. I've plugged back in, and in a couple of seconds, it's going to recognize and it's going to switch that audio input. Boom, straight away. So that's what it's going to do. It's going to switch it back to that. So what will happen is, it's a bit dumb. iOS is a bit dumb in that it'll only let you use one input and output device at a time, and it always has to be the last device connected. So go with that. If you keep that in mind, then it means that you'll be able to do exactly what I'm doing here. Because right now, oh, I moved that. Didn't mean to do that. Right now, so I've got GarageBand playing here, and now that it's coming through my Steinberg, when I hit play on here, I've now got that going through my Steinberg interface. The outputs from my Steinberg are going into my Mac, and when I turn it up, now you're somewhere out of sight, it's playing through there. Whereas what you're probably finding is it's actually using that HDMI to USB. So hopefully that helps answer that question. And it's something that a lot of us deal with and have come across early on. Did I go blurry? Probably. I probably went blurry when I was sending the video across, which I'll play for you now. I'll play this one. Yeah, ribbon microphone. It's what I didn't mention before, because I don't want to even put it in your head that you should go buy a ribbon microphone, because you simply shouldn't. Now that I've said that, people are going to be, oh, I just bought a $700 ribbon microphone, Johns. And I'll be like, no, don't do it. They're too fragile. You'll break it. Now, where's my Finder? Finder.com.au. Why can't I find in my Finder? Where is it hidden? Do you ever do this on Mac where you've got something and you cannot get to it? Where are you? Oh, I may not be able to play this. Oh, wait, I can come in this way. Oh, downloads. Here's that movie that I just shot for you. So I'm going to play this over here. Open it. So this is showing you the hardware side of what I just explained, just to make that crystal clear for you. So let's play back past Pete explaining what we just did here. Take it away, past Pete. So here is my iPad. You can see at the back there, I've got a USB to HDMI adapter plugged into this adapter, and then I've got my USB devices plugged in there. However, if I plug just the USB in, I then have to unplug and replug the audio interface. Otherwise, the iPad will use USB. So when I first plug it in, it's using that HDMI as the audio in and out. I don't want that. So what I have to do is I have to unplug and replug that in there. I couldn't agree with me more. There you go. So hopefully that helps. So I can collect the Scarlett. Do you have the Scarlett's audio going into something? Yeah, so if you've got the Scarlett connected to your PC, that will just become the audio input and output. So if you've got it plugged, so say you've got your iPad plugged into the Scarlett, you then need a second audio interface. That's probably the other thing to consider, is that if you're going through the audio interface, because the audio interface has either got to be the input output for the iPad or for the PC. So the other way to do it is you'd need two different devices. It's just kind of what I'm doing here. Or you need to be able to go directly from the iPad into your device. But yeah, that was probably the other part of the explanation, is you kind of need to already have your PC or your Mac set up with audio inputs, because what mine does is it goes through that and then into my Rodecaster Pro 2, which is where you actually get that audio to record and bring it all together. So with only one audio interface, so you got your Focusrite Scarlett, you could technically put the output, get a USB-C. No, so you can't do it because you need an adapter that has audio. I don't think there's a way around it without a second one. Sorry. Next call for me is miking up a kit and recording a live kit. Yes, I've always avoided that. Always avoided that. Fat Panda Cat said, I wanted the ribbon mic until I watched a YouTube video of a guy repairing one. Immediately put me right off. Total ball ache. Yeah. And that's where I'm at the moment, is that. Sorry. I realized I solved that, and then I said, and you'll also need. Okay, got 2 Scarletts, then you're fine. So here's your source chain. You've got iPad with USB hub. You've got one of your Scarletts plugged into that. Yep. So that's your audio. The outputs from that go into the inputs of your Scarlett on your PC, because that's what you'll need to do. So you'll need to use your other audio interface to input from the iPad. So that's what I do here. So you use your one audio interface, that connects up to your iPad. That's what you can plug stuff into and record and play back through. And then the output of that comes out of your balanced outputs at the back, and they go into the balanced inputs in the other one. So yeah, you'll always need a solo and a 2R2 4th gen. The only problem there with that, Cole, is that you'll then, if you wanted to, because you're using your 2 inputs on your Scarlett, and the Scarlett's only got 2 inputs. So if you then wanted a microphone to talk, to do what I'm doing here, I've got the Rodecaster Pro because it's got 8 channels. So I can have my Mac's sound on one channel, my iPad sound on another channel, my microphone on another channel. So that's the other thing. Yes, and you'll need some. If only there was somewhere you could go to, like studiolivetoday.com/gear, and you can check yourself out some balanced cables. You'll want to make sure that you get balanced 1/4-inch cables. You'll need a pair of them to go from the one device into the other device, and then you'll be able to record. But yeah, keep in mind that you'll only have the two channels. I know. Let me know how you get on. Pete@studiolivetoday.com. Always happy to hear from you and try to help out where we can, because some of this stuff, it seems simple on the surface, but the reason I cover these, the reason I like do microphones at least once a year, is that whilst things don't change, you folks change. People come and go, and you might be newer to this community, and you've never heard this stuff before. You didn't know the difference between a dynamic and a condenser. You didn't know which one you might need. You didn't know that all your gear needs are at studiolivetoday.com/gear. Maybe you didn't know that, and now you do. So if you do, if you are in the market, as Thomas says there, for any gear, just jump on over to studiolivetoday.com/gear. I'll just show you it real quick. .gear, not merch. It keeps taking me to the merch store now because I've been talking about that so much. All righty, let's jump here. So yeah, go to studiolivetoday.com/gear, and here's what you'll be presented with. If you just want to go shopping, just choose your place. So let's say you're in the UK, just go to Amazon UK, and it'll take you into music stuff in the Amazon UK store. If you're looking for specific stuff, here's everything I use in my studio setup. So all the gear, all the hubs, all the everything. So the hub that you just saw, that is there, the little USB hub. Then it's got my master list, which is just everything I've ever reviewed and ever used. And then it goes into different sections here. So all of my audio interfaces, all of my microphones, both USB and XLR, and then it goes so on and so forth. So if there's anything that you are in the market for, all that stuff is stuff that I've used or that has been highly recommended and that I've seen folks look at. That is going to do it for this one. We've got Frank Terzo and the Community Pulse happening right now. So if you're looking for even more stuff, even more chatter about things, you can jump on over to that one. That's Frank Terzo, the Community Pulse. He's got Greg Pincus as a featured artist there, and the wonderful JJ Folk Punk is his co-host, who is one of the funniest dudes on the internet. So I've popped the link there if you're watching here on the live stream. If you're on the replay, thanks for being here. If you have questions that didn't get answered or I didn't get to, or that you want to catch up on the replay, I'm always down in the comments section down below. So you can jump into the comments, ask your questions down there, and I'll be chatting to you in the future. Only one more thing to say, folks, and that is, please be kind to yourselves this week. Be kind to others. Keep creating, and I'll see you real soon here on Studio Live Today. Bye for now.